Hi guys, and welcome back to our tutorial series. In today's tutorial I will be teaching you how to make different particles emit when you hit different objects. For example, we've got this human soldier over here, and he's obviously human, not wood or not metal or anything else. Please excuse his hand, look at that. Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyways, and this is wood and so on. And in the previous tutorial I showed you how to make sparks emit when you hit something that contains a rigid body. But what if it doesn't contain a rigid body? What if it's just a solid object that contains a collider? And that's what we're going to cover today, because a lot of them asked me, how do I get let's just say dust and grass effects coming out from my terrain, and a lot of them don't know how to do that, because otherwise normally you have to put a rigid body on there. But I'll show you how to do it without the rigid body today. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your main player, okay, and you want to go to your reshoot script. So I'm just going to open that quickly. Okay. Okay, my Mono Develop's open, and let's head back into Unity again for 1 second. Find any object you want. I'm just going to use this soldier because I'm going to emit blood effects. So if I go right next to him, I just want to make sure he's tagged correctly. At the moment you can see I tagged him enemy, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to delete the enemy tags and do it from scratch. So enemy, delete, enter, enemy, delete. Okay, so we want to name this guy enemy. So we create a new tag and we call it enemy. Oh, no caps, sorry. Okay, click on him and define him as enemy. And he also needs a collider. Now, don't use a box collider, I wouldn't recommend that. Click on components, physics, and then click on character controller, and it's going to ask you, already contains a mesh collider, and just say add, don't replace it. And there you go, it made a perfect character controller around the soldier. Now I can change the radius myself if I wanted to, just make it a bit more bigger, the height a bit more big, and take it down a bit. There we go. So now if my end of my ray hits this collider, it's gonna emit the blood effect. So let's do that next. Let's go back into our script. Okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to create a new public variable which will hold our blood effect. So we're going to call this a public var blood effect, and it's going to be a type particle emitter. I can see particle animator, there we go, particle emitter. Close that. Now we want to go to our start function, and we want to disable the blood particle when the game starts. So blood effect dot emit equals false. Okay, now you want to go to your reshoot function, which is over here, and you have 3 closing brackets here. Underneath the second one, make a space, and you're going to start off the new if statement. We're going to say if, open bracket, hit. So if our ray point hits what this time? A collider, not a rigid body. So if hit dot collider dot game object dot tag. Now I'm going to test you guys. If you think that's correct, it's wrong, because it won't work. Basically you need to compare the tag. So Unity has to go through the whole system of tags and see if it finds anything that exists with enemy. So don't put tag there, otherwise they won't work. So GameObject.compare tag you need. That's the one. And you're going to put an open bracket. And what's the tag Unity is going to be looking for? And rename that guy enemy. So we're going to put enemy in here. And we're going to close that bracket. And another closing bracket. So it closes the if statement. And open curly brace. And a closing curly brace. Now we're going to say if open bracket blood effect. What is going on? There we go, blood effect.